of the EVs have been dropped quite a bit because they are low maintenance part. So that we are going to discuss what is the difference between the periodic maintenance of the internal combustion engine vehicles and about the EV vehicles. Further, at the end, we will discuss something about the EV care tips as well. So moving on, what the future of mobility actually looks like. So as per we can see on this study, so the future of mobility for 2050 looks like it's. So the people, the factor of people, we are considering the safety as the utmost priority. So zero fatalities and less accidents are the future of the mobility. And also the access of mobility to all is a key to the transition and the category Krishna. Further, for the mother nature, the mobility is looking power for zero emissions. So no carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases. So because the world is getting warmer because of these greenhouse effects, as a major contributor to the CO2 have been basic combustion engines. So by production of these AV, we are looking forward for minimizing the emissions there. So zero net to well emissions, we are looking forward towards this. And also connected vehicles, concept of the connected vehicles utilizing less space for the mobility will allow us to live more and in an environment which is green. So we'll discuss this future of mobility is actually working like this. So for the profitability, the mobility sector will impact a lot of fields of the future. Either it is like the mechanical sort of electronics or the ability software engineering. The mobility is affecting a lot of things. So this is the canvas of the innovation happening in the world. So on the y-axis we see the innovation. So innovation are the number of the patents which are going on and the research work going on. Further, on the x-axis we see the interest, which is the social media expression versus technology. And the darker circle we see is the adoption of this economy. So applied AI we see at the top, the AI idea solving problems for the human like ChatGPT or this kind of stuff. And but as far as the investment horizon is concerned, we will see the electrification and renewable energy and the future of the mobility is getting a lot of attention and it's getting a lot of traction. So part is that the innovation when the equation will increase, so we will see a lot of things happening in the EV. So whatever the canvas is and whatever we are looking forward for the future of the mobility, so one thing is confirmed that for this transition, EVs are here to stay and EVs are the future for the. So if we talk about the technology, the internal combustion engine does source the atmosphere and produce fuel, propel the vehicle, and the main disadvantage of this technology was the CO2 emissions and also the high cost of ownership. We have to maintain the vehicle on and off to the regular basis. If you don't maintain, then you will get into trouble. So after this hybrid vehicles came in and the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles came in. So transition was there to minimize the emission, but still there was not effort to be done. So in this transition, the electric vehicles have played a part of both because the electric vehicle emission is almost zero. So this technology not only is beneficial for the environment, or it also creating such technology and integrating such technologies into the TVs at the point is. So the bias components which we have lost in this transition are basically the engine system, engine components, especially the muffler system, the exhaust system, we are going to lose these components in the coming days. And also the fuel components we are going to fix. So around almost 100 types of components we have lost with disruption. Further, what we have gained are the all electronics, the battery pack, the charging port, and the high voltage cables, battery management system. So these are the parts which are now introduced in the future of the Google. As we see this transition, we see like the core vehicle components predominantly will remain the same, like chassis, body, and interior. This will almost remain the same. But we can see a transition in the minimization of the components regarding to the internal combustion engines, and we will see a lot of the care in the electric motors, battery components, and the technologies like the steer-by-wire and the steer-brake-by-wire technology. So the automation part, which is coming in the future, will be most likely introduced and integrated in the EV, which you cannot do with the ICE. All the innovation which is coming, that is the EV serve a great platform to integrate these technologies, sir. So previously we were talking about the hardware stuff. So what hardware has come up inside the vehicle, the EV vehicles. Now let's talk about the software stuff. So software is also developing a lot for the EVs. As we see the vehicle 1.4, we only have some microcontrollers inside the vehicle working together, and we cannot communicate probably outside vehicle. But with the technology of fusing vehicle 2.0 and vehicle 3.0, now we can integrate softwares and update the softwares from the air using the CUB technology. And further, for the vehicle 4.0, we are looking forward for the connected vehicles. So this is also pretty much a glimpse of what the technology is going to be in the future. How the software will play smart. So now we see a lot of like convenience also, but there is a part of complex flows. So are we ready for this type of technology, sickness technology? So this is the question if we need to ask. Wonder if you see like the customer life cycle, and the customer life cycle, the customer actually looks forward towards the brand phases in the first stage, then he considers any brand, then he purchases. But the post all the time he spends is with the retention of. For in the life cycle of the product, in after sales and the services play a very vital. If the services are provided to the customer and all of his concerns are fixed right at the first time, so he will most likely be loyal to that brand, and he will be most likely buy that brand more and over again. So, keeping in view the advancement in the hardware and the advancement in the software, and also considering the acquisition of the vehicle, the retention of vehicle, how fried is this service industry towards the customer. So we can say that with all of the complexities, the EV service has become more challenging. More challenging. So services right now need a lot of attention, and NAVA Academy and such kind of initiatives are paving its way towards this transition, and development of the skill actually will play a vital role in going through this transition. So before going further, let's understanding such things like why service is important, let's talk about the heart of an EV. So heart of an EV is a battery. So what do we think about EV sometimes is that it's like RC car which we play and it when we were kids. So when we go to the technology and study about this stuff, this is not an RC car. So the batteries are the battery management system, keeping it, checking it regularly, software updates, what is the charging cycle, is the battery capable enough for the fast charging, what's the range, what is the composition of the SU battery. So all of these details are uh, to be considered when we are talking about the EV technology. So, although this is, as I've said, this is the convenience also, but the complexity is there to stay, and we have to address these complexities as. So this is a battery failure phenomena. I just put this picture here to show that what is the complexity. So if you see like the battery, when it fails, so there are many factors of usage that contribute to failure mechanism, and those failure mechanisms contribute to the failure phenomenon. So these are more connected together. So one factor is not independent of the other factor. All the factors are integrated with each other. So one factor that influences many other types of failures is the battery. So how the technology is actually mitigating this thing is by the use of software in the battery management system. Constant monitoring of the battery cell health and constantly monitoring of the temperature of the current and the voltages which are happening inside the battery. So they are able to sustain the life the battery. And regarding the worst case scenario, if in case there is an abuse from the like the electrical, thermal, mechanical, there is some external factors happening. So the internal temperature of the battery, if this rises above 80, 100 degrees C, 120 degrees C, it can deplete the internal resistance of the battery, and the battery power can do towards the thermal runner versus the thermal. So it seems like we are discussing a lot of technical details here, but the point here is that before going on for the service, guys, we need to know what these people are going to experience. Okay, so so regarding the thermal, other way, it's like battery getting the one part, but it can happen if there is some external influence happening. So a little damage we cannot neglect until damage in the EV. So mostly the service before EVs used to be like this, that if the thing is not broken, why fix it? So that is not the case with the EV. If there is damage to the EV or to the battery, we have to consider what consequences can happen. What consequences can happen to the EV battery. So we need to consider these factors. So regarding the safety is the prime thing here. And then if you see like the high voltage injuries are to be considered for this thing. And anything above DC 60 volt is high voltage, and anything above AC 30 volt is high voltage. Or high voltage, if we are dealing with the high voltage, so we have to set up protocols or dealing this thing. So the protocols need to be set in the working environment wherever there are high voltages. So any current above 5 milliampere, if prolonged for a long time, can create muscle contraction. Okay, if you see like in the electric shock, what happens is that whenever there is electric shock, your muscle contracts and you get attached with that source of electric shock. So we have to consider that this small amount of current can be RD as well. So consider these things that EVs produce such kind of voltage. So in the EVs we are talking about 400 volts and 800 volts. Anything about 660 volt is considered high voltage. So we have to take a great caution and precautions when we are doing EV service. Another phenomenon which can occur is the arc flashing. Arc flashing, like here you're trying to disconnect a live EV system, it will produce an arc, and this arc is like 4 times what concern, and it can be compared with a blast. So we have to consider safety the utmost priority while we are dealing with the EVs. So for handling high voltage systems, safety is comparative. That is the main motto for today. Therefore, if we are going for the EV service, first thing is the safe. So let's move on and talk about how we are moving towards this target. So if we see the service organization chart of any service station, we are looking towards partnership director, and we have a service manager who's looking after a team of service advisors. So these advisors was being made by the customer, the educated customer, how the vehicle, and also they provide a pivoted booth in the maintaining capital. And also for the offices, workshop, and technical manager is looking out a warranty, quality inspector, PDS specialist, and new energy vehicles. So these positions, green positions here, if we see, are the new positions which will be added in the hierarchy of the service order. Okay. So one question which comes to our mind is that what will happen to the other guys? They need any trainings for the EVs? What do you say, like? So, we have thought about the technology that it is complex. We have thought about that we cannot go with this mindset that if the thing is not broken, why fix it? We cannot do with this mindset. And keeping in the safety. So, should all the team be considered for skill development? Yes. Anybody who wants to share this, say, yeah. Do we have a mic here? Yeah. Anybody wants to share his feelings, like, what do we need if we are going to reduce the EV vehicles? Does the general manager or the authority director or the customer relationship team need to do anything about the EVs? What's your point of view for that?
Not all must speak with people, technicians, and the people who are really working deeply into, let's say, mechanism like the
Okay. For one particularly that choosing the vehicle or something like this. So maybe they are able to do the job. But if a customer calls a CR representative and he says like, I hear some price from my pickup. So could you help me? So in that scenario, what do you think, like, would they need to be trained, like, okay, they can assess what danger we are facing, quickly pay case?
maybe in the first that's the knowledge.
Exactly. So this is the point. So EVs are for all. EVs are for all. Giving knowledge for the EVs are for all. Any person with working in an organization that deals with EV, either is talking with the EV customer, either is involved in the movement of the EV, is engaging with an EV, he needs training. At least of the level but he needs to know what consequences could happen if something is wrong. He needs to identify at least what actually wrong means. So, as we said, we are reiterating it again. If it's moving, why fix it? This mindset has to go. So we need to understand these things, that if there is some concern, if there's some noise coming from the tree, if there is some smoke coming from the EV, if your vehicle just got hit, either it's a small hit, you need to be vigilant about considering the servicing of the keeping the safety as the utmost priority, So although the new positions are coming here, the new things are progressing in, but still this technology is not for just technicians, for the mechanics, for whoever. It is for all, even for the spare parts manager, who is to be covered for keeping the factory. We'll discuss this more in habits. So, skill, we are developing the skill in 3 states. We are actually developing the skill in 3 states. So level 1 is a non-electrical work. There is no electrical work involved in it. We are not dealing with the replacement of some high voltage component. we are not dealing in the diagnosing of the hybrid component. If there is a test pack involved, even the washing of the vehicle, filtering, wheel cage, body repair work, which doesn't involve any sort of replacement of high voltage components. So that level of work is on electrical work, and level 1 will be given to all those who are working in an environment which is 40 EVs. So everybody needs to understand the basic knowledge, basic thing that this because it's complex. Any one factor can contribute to the many factors involving the failure of battery. You need to be vigilant in the start, and this transition, the mindset, as we speak about the mindset, has to be changed when we are dealing with the EVs. So for the level 2, we are going to train a technicians for the work on the EV vehicles, but not in a live state. So before going on engaging with the high voltage components, we have to disable all the electrical components working in them. That is the level 2 of the pairing part. And level 3 is the highest levels, and the highest of it for working on the EVs when the EV is in the high voltage state. So be ready with some other, the relay is not going off, and there's a constant voltage going on in the system. That is level 3 technician competency. But we need to set some protocols that before engaging in the repairs of the high voltage, everybody has to in the organization that today we are going to face the situation that we are going to repair a high voltage component, and the level 2 technician cannot work alone. He has to work under the supervision of the level 3 technician. So no experimentation will happen. Only authorized persons will be allowed to work on the EVs. So for the authorization, the technicians need to be certified, and they need to have the skill set to perform the repairs. So regarding the training of EVs, there is a change point. The internal combustion engine, because we can turn on anything and we can start inspecting the voltage. That's not. But in the high voltage system, we cannot do this. When it's on, you just don't go and check the system. We have to save all the parts and then check it. But this has caused a problem in the training segment. How we will teach the students to work on the high voltage system. That's task. How can they actually know what can happen wrong with it? So we have specialized equipment. That specialized equipment are safe and used for training the technicians, and they get to know about how high voltage systems can be diagnosed in a proper manner. So these simulators work like the actual vehicle, but they have a safety behind this. The students are safe when they are working with this kind of simulator. So this simulator give a lot of like real-time feeling when you are pickup. So all in all, the message here is that only authorized technicians will be allowed to work on the high voltage components repair. If the person is not authorized, he will not be allowed actually to work on the electric. So safety is the utmost broad. Regarding the service facility where everything will be happening actually, so let's talk about the service facility. Whenever we are dealing with the EV, so EV station should be separated from all the other work which is going on for sure. So this is the dedicated EV bay, and this EV bay has fire extinguishers as repair protectors, isolation belts to keep unauthorized access, and insulated tools are, so these tools are not just made of metals, these are insulated. So these insulated tools are used, safety warnings are there, and the personal protective equipment are used for the repairs. So all in all, the EV surface has a dedicated bay which has set of protocols, and as per the protocols, the repair work is performed. Further, talking about the personal protective equipment, so we are actually talking about the insulated plus cotton liners, that are of plus. So the gloves have to be dusted in a particular frequency of frameworks of 6 plus. They have to get certification for the usage. Further, for the lock that we have to use is kind of clothing, insulated boots are used, and for making the environment much safer, we use insulated pad when we are working on the hip. So these are some of the details which are required when you are servicing an EV. Further, for the safety, first aid, we need first aid kits, AEDs, and the insulated retrieval book, 5 blankets, and we have to use the fire extinguisher and the fire hose wheel. In case of an unconstrained state of the turbulent way, we use water to cool down the cut. And for the special tools, these are the special tools which was not there when we were servicing the division vehicles. Now we have the installation tester because the high voltage cables, they are insulated from the vehicle body. So we concern that there's a loss of isolation. So isolation testers are used for this purpose. For the lifting of the battery, we have specialized lifting equipment for safe handling of the battery. And for checking if we put the work and we need to check, okay, the contacts have been established well. We use milliometer power plug lockout for the tog out and tag out operation of the T, so that when you are working on the EV, nobody just takes out the vehicle's e-fob and the vehicle automatically gets on. So for mitigating cost points, we use the power plug lockout protocols and also the insulated tools. Plus, we have a balance charger in case if we need to charge the battery when it's taken out from the vehicle. We use balance charger for or TV battery charging. In the warehouse as well, I'll store the batteries in the warehouse so the charge can deplete. At that point, we also can use the balance charger for charging. So as far as the warehouse is concerned, so EV batteries need special care. They need a storage temperature of around L40 degrees C, and the humidity should be less than 95%. No direct sunlight, no vibrations. Ventilation should be good. Clean environment, no external damages, and also if the state of charge is getting less than 50% and you are going to store the battery for the next 30 days, you need to charge the batteries to maintain the proper health of these batteries. Further, regarding the damaged vehicles or the batteries you have, so the service center needs to have an isolation spot where they can store these vehicles. These type of isolation spots are not in the telecommission. So for EV, as we keep like the safety of the first priority, so handling the damaged vehicles, we have to isolate this vehicle to service it. Regarding the EV plotting vectors, so once we are going for the EV plotting vectors, and if it falls some interaction with the high voltage component, so first we need disconnect the battery, and by disconnecting the battery, we actually discharge the capacitor inside, and we disconnect all the high voltage component. So in this case, we can go and service the vehicle. So before going for servicing the vehicle, we have a set protocol that the switch, MST switch or the service plug needs to be stored somewhere that nobody, unauthorized person can access that blur and based on that. So these are the protocols we speak, the ABSF. Further regarding the product maintenance, as we know that EVs have no maintenance regarding the EV motor, and for the battery, the batteries only use the cooler for the cooling down, so we just need to replenish the cooler after some frequency. But as we see in the internal combustion engine, we have the engine on or filter, air filter, we will change replacement like this. So there is a cost involved with that. Further, for the fuel system also, if you need to service the fuel, your filters, and sometimes in the worst case, and you have to go and change the catalytic converters if that gets clogged. So there is a maintenance cost with the ICE vehicle. EV have fewer cars, maintenance is simple, and you don't have to worry about all the metal sticks. For the lubricants, as I told, all the transmission fluid needs to be changed in the EV. So for the motor, we use a fluid that will be could be changed. But for the internal combustion engine, with the transmission oil, intercooler, brake fluid, and the frequency is much higher in the internal combustion engine. Further, for the EVs, the brake pads consumption is quite low because of the regenerative effect of the EVs and the motor. So they don't consume the brake pads more. So the brake pads are, this frequency of changing those brake pads is delayed quite a bit in the EV. So this contribute to the total cost of ownership, which actually the customer is facing because of the wolf maintenance. Further, regarding the charging system in the wind combustion engine, we see like we have a start motor, we have the alternator, we have to keep track of and maintaining those two things as well. So, but in the EV, we don't have a charging system. The battery charges get to port this battery. We don't have to deal with the alternator, the starter. So these parts are also negated, and there is no maintenance support in these parts as well. Further, regarding exhaust, we have also said like there's no exhaust system, so the exhaust system maintenance part is also covered. So, further, this is the final thing. Like I just want to give you a glimpse that if so only the is in the frequency set an average frequency of the like drive transmission fluid every after 2 years, brake fluid after 2 years, brake pad replacement after 1 year, coolant after 2 years. So a frequency has gone quite high with the usage of the electrical vehicles. So moving on to the rescue operation. So when an EV goes to an extent, so we have to recover the vehicle and have to access the actual specification of the OEM, and we have to locate those areas where the service disconnection points are. So the first responders who are going to engage with the vehicle when it is accidented, they are to get trained how to handle the vehicle when it's accident, and they need to locate those points, disable the high voltage systems. These crucial parts are also part of the trainings which we give to the student. Further regarding the EV gear kits, if we talk about how we are going to maintain the EV, so this does shows the number of cycles of charges. So from charging from 25% to 75%, we see a blue color low, which says like if we charge from 25 to 75%, we can increase the life of the battery by the number of cycles. And if we charge from 25 to 100%, this can contribute to the degrees of the overall health of the battery. So charging more frequently to the 70% or 75% can make the life of the EV much better. So these are some of the cases. And further, as for the last part, I want to say that is a method of balance charging, which is that if we done every month, can also enhance the life of the batteries. So all in all, what we have actually is just saying that the technology is quite complex, the hardware is complex, software has played its part, And we know that the offices services are very critical for the overall brand image. So keeping all these parts together, we see like it's a lot of efforts to be done for the development of the script. And the right tools, if provided at the right time to the right person, will enable him to do the job right at the first time. So considering the old mindset, it has to go away, and the new mindset for the service has to come in. And the new mindset is that we cannot ignore even a small noise. We have to address it properly, and we have set protocols for the safety regarding its service. So this is mostly all from my side. If you have any questions, we can discuss more about this. Yes, sir. Mike.
Hi. You mentioned earlier that there's a gear to over each bush was a trade. I try it as a industry. I'll answer your question. So EVs are put off a bubble time here, some more popular in bubble, right? When then it's small scale, therefore expensive. But then a workshop, it should have a is to storage ball, fancy, cup this here book that can have for passport. At the same time, measure frequency below and make some nice real okay? So that means I have to invest both, but expect less revenue. How will I impact the business first?
Okay. So regarding I'll see like if I go that to this frequency of okay. So if you see down here, see like battery and door inspection, this is done at almost 6 months. And if you see like the core components, the way it say like the entire rotation which we have to at 10,000 kilometer between the half of the tires. So if the tires are not maintained, then that can contribute to the overall RBS for suspension system. And if the suspension system is not taken care of, that can contribute to the overall discomfort for the development this bad. So for all the other components, the core components which are here, cardiac supply inside the braking system, that would be the same. That just but that person doesn't have very poor. Okay, I will then I do cook or the 80,000 kilometer inspection. Then I will go and check per task. So that is how the services the ability part of it there, but the method of doing the services like the or we see like in the future the software affairs which will be becoming more and as far as the mobility of the app customer copy part that when software is coming what updates will be there, so this kind of practice can contribute for the revenue of the service Japan. But yes, your part is also right that the frequency two things negate each other. That EVs are coming with a technology that is less cold to breakdown or cold to services, and this can create a somehow the overall the revenue cost maybe not like that with the telecommercial service sectors, but the service industry is coming to pick such innovation pools that it has a experience of industry. So those services will be more towards the technology, and like if you are operating your mobile phones with an extra app, so maybe with those services you could have more experience in driving the car, which can create valuable time you spend with the vehicle. So the service revenue generating services will be quite different, and the repair related services will be quite different. Today we actually discussed about the consequences which we feel the gate, and we if we don't provide the right skill to the technicians, so we won't be able to actually sustain these transitions. That was the main part for having. Yes, sir. Zipper.
Thank you for the topic. Lot of it is let us go about the safety about the UFO because yes, we mentioned that safety the it used themselves were also so but yeah because we see let's say you is a big stuff happen but people's because of the bodies again post in new copy copy all the man opponent the mistake or the mistake you prefer to actually have create utility need on a tazzo you actually so one cannot make it is evil where is it the test station but we had the batteries and fetch the enter.
Yes, yes. So your partner were better. The safety HP safety by fair PC or the safety. The hierarchy of the hazards. The personal protected equipment. We say like the least effective. The most effective thing is that isolate the problem or just remove it. Yes. So you part right. If you put the hazard that to the first thing for the safety, PP is like the last resort, and if when we are talking for safety, these are only least effective tool. But in case their scenario completely have be with the have system, then do not deal you daughter then PP. So yes, here the software which are added in the battery management system now and the connectivity of the vehicles and the connectivity of the vehicle with the actual server of the OEM. Real-time data can go to the OEMs and they can trigger service to check those vehicles and figure out the customers do not have because people expected there be a service center before any problem came. So this is how like the AI is actually coming in. So the condition of vehicle and the data which comes for the vehicle can give a lot of indicators towards the handle. So these softwares are playing a vital role in the mitigating this. So and we see a lot of updates coming in for the EV vehicles which didn't happen with the tell the machine nature. So what happens is that with the use of SDI technology, all the machines are learning, all the machines are learning. But when they learn, upgrade upgrade their program and then distribute that program all of the other papers, they don't face the same sergeant. So for electric vehicles, which we see like if talking for the future of the mobility, why in that future EV is there to stay? Because EV is the technology which can take these things happen, like generative AI introduction, FE environment, data collection, making more efficient machines, machine learning together, connected together, avoiding accidents in the future. If all things are connected together, maybe the future there will be less accidents occurring. So we are quite optimistic that the college is coming in and these softwares which are offering will help improve a lot of things. I don't know. Yeah. Anybody else has say? Yeah. Thank you for the topic. I question you asked by as you were saying, like we have well or education, EVs, and the thing is like we have service centers. How big the breeds would support the student centered proposal at outreach that is secure and what we support the service center at the local station with this cost at or the add to the total maintenance the drastically uh, new this planner. Yes, yes. So if you see like you were saying like if will the law access the host system. So I know I cannot comment. This is a very huge topic, but I can just hint it out that if you see like technology companies are coming in the EVs. The technology companies coming in with EVs, they have the sources available, they have the cloud computing, they have the AI. They only need the hardware dedicated there. So if you say like now the technology companies are coming towards making of babies, so they are making power a lot of things in the future which are taken happen. And if you see like a person driving a car, he spends a lot of time with the vehicle, enhancing his experience with the vehicle in a way that is very convenient to that person. Technology companies are coming up with those ideas like as we check with our smart shoes, we get updates about the cars. So maybe in the future we will have vehicles which have softwares integrated with together, learning from other things, updating their softwares. So if the OEMs are not allowing this thing, so we see like there's a transition going up there, and the technology companies are they are moving things in their work. This happening is happening. The worst things are happening in the technology industry. Yes. For brief presentation, I now not be given references to spy SDCW history. As more EVs hit the market, see we're coming to a point where BBDs could bring a bigger body for like tree replace. Artery get died by or regulatory actions. It takes for the safe disposal of the batteries at the COM. Exactly. So if you look towards the projects which are happening here, so it's not about just building the batteries. Also, the movement is toward the recycling of the batteries. For the recycling, if you see like the OUs now are like they are giving mobility of the birds for around 8 years, 10 years for the battery. So for the 8 years, the 10 years, if you are keeping it right, the batteries are not being happy. After that, yes, there is a recycling procedure. So as the company are investing in that, and if we recycle it, that we are able actually ground like that 5% we are able to extract those with us again, the sustainable manner, and then again where it goes back. So recycling is very crucial part, and countries are for that as well. So recycling, CAD, servicing, disposal, these are also part of ad protocol, and the authorities are also working with doing this. So, any question from your side, Kari? Any yes. So, I don't know from my side, and if you have any question, you can have something on this. So, but particularly about the NAVA Academy, which is based in the EU Plus city. So we are all dealing towards making workforce and those skill. And if you see like the importance, the aspect of this presentation was to create importance and also the awareness that whoever is dealing with the EVs, he needs to we have put a bit level of understanding of all cases well. And pairing is not for particularly versus who are just diagnosing or pairing a vehicle. Basic level of feeling is what everybody was actually dealing with the fix. So from my side, so signing up. Thank you.